Early voting begins this week in Maryland's primary elections, with many focusing on who will win the Democratic Senate nomination and likely face former Governor Larry Hogan this fall.
It's a big, heated three-way, perhaps. News 4's Tracee Wilkins sat down with candidates Angela Alsobrooks and David Trone today for a discussion about why they're running and where they stand on the issues that are most important to you. And Tracee, who has covered Maryland politics for years, joins us in the studio now with more on the story. It's getting heated.
Yeah, it is. And, originally our plan was to have a debate. That was the original plan. We do that from time to time.
Right. Yeah.
Major elections. But unfortunately, that did not happen. We wanted you to see for yourself how these candidates compare. While the Alsobrooks campaign agreed, the Trone campaign did not commit. Alsobrooks told us he's declined as many as 6 opportunities to debate her. But when we asked Trone about it, he focused more on the ones he had committed to doing. Here's what they said when we sat down with them.
And I think the two of us on the stage together gives a stark contrast. We are completely different individuals. I think that comes clear, and I don't think it advantages him. So he has not liked sitting next to me on a stage, and so he's avoided it.
That's the kind of stuff that people that are losing begin to make those kind of charges. And that's inaccurate. We had one debate we missed when I was ill. I got dehydrated. That's it.
Now, you may recall that dehydration sent him to the hospital, though he tells us now he's doing much better. In a recent televised debate in Baltimore, it was clear that there are similar policy positions between both of these candidates, serious similarities. In our interviews, we spoke with them on what sets them apart, including race, gender, experience, and of course, money.
You've seen their ads.
I'm Angela Alsobrooks.
I'm David Trone.
When it comes to the issues, the two leading Democrats in Maryland's U.S. Senate race, Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks and Congressman David Trone, are very similar. Both support a woman's right to choose, a repeal of the federal death penalty, a ceasefire in Gaza, and a two-state solution. And both have experience in governance.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
But there are undeniable differences.
Angela Alsobrooks.
If Alsobrooks wins, she could become the first black woman senator in Maryland's history and break up the state's all-male congressional delegation. But that's not why she says she should be elected.
I know that race and gender play into people's kind of considerations, but I think they mostly want a person who understands them, a person who will fight for them, a person who has a record of results, and that is what I offer people.
A prolific donor to Democratic causes, Trone says that while he's financially supporting other women running for office, he's the person for this job, partially because of his 3 terms in Congress.
This job is not for someone on training wheels. This job is for someone that's really been doing the work and understands the relationships.
But Trone has also called Alsobrooks a career politician. Before she was county executive, she was a domestic violence prosecutor and then state's attorney.
All she has ever done has been in politics, just working her way up the ladder from one political job to the next, to the next, to the next.
Before running for Congress, Trone built the Total Wine and More empire, becoming a multimillionaire in the process.
I don't begrudge people who earn money, even if they do so selling liquor, but I think that it is wrong to disparage public service.
Money has no doubt emerged as a major difference in this closely watched race. Trone's family business is worth more than $2 billion, according to Bloomberg, and he's largely self-funding his campaign. According to the latest FEC filings, he's loaned his campaign nearly $42 million record-breaking dollars and raised about $640,000 from donors. Trone said his wealth guarantees he's not accountable to special interests.
And the fact we're not out spending 30–40% of our time raising money gives me the advantage of time to go meet folks where they are, listen.
Alsobrooks, meanwhile, has raised $7.1 million, nearly $6 million from individual donors.
If you ask me honestly what I think would happen if Congressman Trone didn't self-fund, I don't think he'd be in this race. This would not even be a race based on our experience.
Campaign records show hundreds of thousands of Alsobrooks dollars come from people affiliated with real estate and lobbying groups. Trone said that makes her beholden to corporate donors.
When I'm not taking money like my opponent takes money from Exxon, well, I can go after them about tax rates, about our climate change. People love that fact that you're independent.
We pressed him on that view, since Total Wine is a powerful force in the alcohol lobby.
First of all, nothing that Total Wine does has anything to do on the federal level. Zero. It's all state level stuff.
But Alsobrooks accuses Trone of trying to buy the election.
To allow the person with the most money to buy an election, that is a very dangerous precedent, and I don't think Marylanders are going to allow it.
With little dividing them on policy, this primary may come down to personality and who voters think have the best shot of winning the Senate seat this fall.
Coming up tomorrow, we have more with both candidates, who is supporting them, how they feel about gaining and losing key endorsements, and what the polls are saying about who's best positioned to face a Republican in November. And that's really the big question.
Right.
Since they're so closely aligned on policy, it comes down to who's electable.
Right.
Exactly. And it has national implications. So all eyes on this very expensive race.
Oh, my goodness. And that endorsement divide, you're going to get into that tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it
every night
tomorrow.
in these commercials.
Yeah.
All right, Tracee,
Thanks
so
so
much. Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks hope to replace Maryland's longtime Senator Ben Cardin, who is stepping down.
No matter who wins the primary, they're expected to face Republican challenger and former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan this fall. Tonight, News 4's Tracee Wilkins sat down with both Democrats about why each says they're the best person for the job. Tracee joins us now with the latest. Tracee, the follow-up to the interesting conversation you had the other day.
Yeah, this is the follow-up. We talked with both leading Democratic candidates for about 25 minutes for this series. And when it comes to domestic and foreign policy, both of them are closely aligned, meaning this race may come down to personality, their endorsements, and who thinks that they can beat Larry Hogan. He is expected to be the likely nominee in November.
It's a race that could swing the balance of power in the U.S. Senate.
My fellow Marylanders, you know me.
A race that picked up speed this year when former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan announced his candidacy for the seat, too. On the Democratic side, Congressman David Trone is leading Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks in many polls, though Alsobrooks says her own polling has them in a statistical tie. But some of those same polls show Hogan, who is expected to win the Republican nomination, with a clear shot at beating them both.
Larry Hogan's views do not line up with the vast majority of Marylanders.
In a sit-down interview with News 4, Alsobrooks downplayed the significance of that polling, pointing out the two-term former governor hasn't run during a presidential election year, when more of Maryland's Democrats are expected to turn out and vote.
Maryland's not purple, it's blue, and we're going to see that in this next general election. Maryland is not purple.
I'm the only guy going to beat Larry Hogan, I'll tell you that right now.
While the population centers of Montgomery, Prince George's, and the Baltimore region are important targets, Trone says he has the, quote, persona to carry the rest of the state. His congressional district stretches from Montgomery County to western Maryland.
My district's at R+1, Republican +1. This race about beating Larry Hogan pretty soon. And I won in a Republican district by 10 points. That's tough.
Alsobrooks says it's also tough for Trone, part owner of the Total Wine empire, to defend his company's record of supporting Republicans in races across the country, including politicians who have worked to overturn reproductive rights.
I am the only candidate in this race who has never compromised my values where choice is concerned. You think about Mr. Trone, who has contributed to the campaigns, to support the campaigns of these Republicans across the country who are working diligently right now to ban abortion.
Total Wine is a business, does business in Texas and Florida, different states, and we support red candidates and blue candidates there, but none of it's related to women's rights.
Trone points out his foundation helped open an abortion clinic in Cumberland, Maryland last year, when neighboring state West Virginia all but banned the procedure.
So what we really have done has been phenomenally 100% supportive of a woman's right to abortion.
Total Wine has also donated to Hogan, with records showing Trone's company has given thousands to help retire the former governor's campaign debt.
Any regrets?
When someone, and that's your problem with politics, politicians think they're entitled to money because they're a governor. They think they're entitled.
With few policy differences, the candidates are blasting the airwaves this week to highlight their key endorsements.
We know Maryland.
Like this one from Alsobrooks, who earned the support of U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen, Governor Wes Moore, and key members of the state's congressional delegation like Jamie Raskin and Glenn Ivey. And just this week, former Maryland Senator Barbara Mikulski, the first woman in the Senate for Maryland, announced she's backing Alsobrooks too.
I see David doing things.
Trone, meanwhile, is highlighting the support he's gotten in Alsobrooks' own backyard, like Attorney General Anthony Brown, State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy, and State Senator Joanne Benson.
The people that know that county the best, ironically, all came to us.
Yeah, but not a majority. I mean, we want to be clear that, yeah, there are some people in Prince George's County, but not a majority.
The people in Prince George's County that stuck with her were the low-level folks. The top-level folks, that's called the Attorney General, I think. Yeah. I think that's called the state's attorney, I think. Right. I think that's called the senior senator, I think. I think they're the top-level folks.
We asked Alsobrooks for her response to those endorsements going to Trone.
I have had a groundswell of support, and I almost feel it would be short-sighted of me to focus on the handful of people who chose not to support me.
With battle lines drawn, the question is, who do voters think has the best shot against Hogan this fall?
We don't want them voting just against Larry Hogan. I want to offer them something to vote for.
This race really hinges on who can beat Larry Hogan or we lose the U.S. Senate.
In a race with historic implications.
Now, as a reminder, Senator Ben Cardin, who was stepping down after 3 terms in the Senate, said he will not endorse a candidate in this Democratic race. We also reached out to the Hogan campaign, which released a statement saying the former governor is the underdog in this race, adding nobody will outwork us. So there you go. This was an opportunity to learn about these 2 candidates. You know, we wanted to do a debate. The Trone campaign didn't agree to that. So this was our opportunity to kind of sit them down and ask the questions and see what's the difference here. Hopefully folks got it.
And listening to them, I think that that's becoming more clear what the differences are between those candidates, and it will be up to Maryland voters to decide.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an important race, and as we said, it has national implications. What happens here can impact the balance of the Senate.
Exactly.
So
a lot
we'll
riding on it.
Yeah,
all right,
it's
good
interesting.
stuff. Tracee,
Thank
thanks.
you, Tracee, so
we
much.
appreciate it.